the briefing of the state of affairs in Benue State. The state is experiencing quite very high levels of peace. This is the farming season since 1999. For some reason, our people paid less attention to farming. But since last year, and particularly this season, we have returned to the farms. We need to do more produce, and if our basket was not full, to ensure that we fill it up to capacity. So we've done a lot of farm yields. We're quite good on the front lines of security as well. There are a few skirmishes here and there, but at a very large scale, we are good. We are quite good. However, having briefed Mr. President, I just reminded him that we have 23 local governments. The relative peace is being enjoyed at all the local governments now. Up to 3 local governments where skirmishes persist somewhat. We need to give very closest attention so that we get rid of all the skirmishes completely. And again, this is we've got some alert on flood. The river requires some dredging. I know the federal government is working around that and trying to see what can be put to create effectivity on the dredging. So the federal government is already on that. Oftentimes in the rainy season, when we get some alerts like what we have now, that the dam at Cameroon might be releasing some high volumes of water, there is some anxiety of the flooding. Even without the release from the dam, there was some bit of flooding, but this year was way much less. We have our apparatus in place. We've created a lot of awareness, and we'll continue to do that. It's our hope that what we would experience from the release from this Cameroonian dam, a number of measures shall be taken down the road to see, one, how the dredging goes, and then secondly, how our internal preparedness also would go towards this. I think overall that is where we are. We have elections coming up on just next month, 5th October, the primaries for the local government. I think of note, it should be the fact stated that I was one amongst the very first people who, before the declaration of autonomy by the legal authorities, we had already made it in our state that autonomy was already granted. So we're very hopeful with the works that we've done, and with the followership that exists, and the goodwill and the transparency that we're transporting democracy all the way, trickling it down to the grassroots. We're very sure that it's going to play out quite well. So we're very comfortable with the elections coming up. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think overall, that was in part our briefing. Surprised, to hear that some certain wings have sprung up with that kind of a rumor. But this should be a given. You know that there are certain people, even if you walk on the water, they will say you are raising dust. So I learned quite fast just to contain them, to accommodate them, and to give them their own leverage. Benue State doesn't have any problem. What we did, the process of the selection we did was extremely transparent. We did a direct process. So those who needed, the hard-working APC members to come back, to be nominated, supported them. It's even in the internet, and it's on the social media, it's out there. But definitely you hear one, two people, grumbling that it would have been my own person. And what we did was that we kind of, we gave everybody their own fair share of saying something and imputing, in the entire process. So believe me, I wouldn't try to toy with the reputation I've built around my name and on my personality. So, but just for the record, it was quite transparent. It was very fruitful, and people are quite excited about it too, and they are looking forward to October 5th. So, if you happen to have a friend whom the polls could not favor, please just tell him to look up to the skies and say, well, there's always a next time. So.
Just a follow-up before I call someone else.
Yeah.
I just want you to put it on record, telling the Benue people that your leadership in the state provided free and atmosphere for free and credible elections.
Definitely no question on that at all. I've walked the trenches. I've lived in there. So my name is synonymous with the very least people in our society in the state. So, and this is why I'm always on the side of the masses. Always, anytime at all. Sleeping, wake me up. Anything that deals with those who don't have a voice, those who don't have very long legs, with my short legs, I'm with them, and we keep doing the 1, 2, 3 walks. So I am with the masses, I am for the masses, and at any time at all, I fight for the masses. Our elections coming up 100% transparent and fair play is a tag, we bear. Remember, my background says it all, and I wouldn't want to stain my reputation, to stain my name at all. Whichever party that is contesting, they are very welcome. When you come to Benue, you'll be surprised at what the different people from other parties are talking about. Not the APC, but what their governor is doing on every street, in their homes. So we're not talking party in Benue. We're talking achievements, we're talking progress, we're talking development. So definitely you hear 1, 2 people say something that is unfriendly, but that should be accepted. You cannot just keep everyone smiling. And then on this job, if you want to see a smile on everyone's face, then you have to start selling ice cream. It's a very beautiful question, but you twisted the straight narrative. The road is not closed. There were skirmishes. There were blockages at some point within the few days that the skirmishes persisted. But very promptly, our team, the Joint Task Force, were mandated to get down there. The police were mandated to be there. The military got down there. So I pass on the very road myself. I do. You have no clue how many times I've been to Oju, I've been to Obi. So if you belong to that part, I think someone is feeding you with unpolished news. Yeah, and again, it's a road I've even awarded. I've awarded that road. So just for how many years? It's stayed that way. But I'm linking up the communities, the local government. So it's one area we have not failed at all. The beauty of your question is the skirmishes between the two communities is quite persistent. So what is the way out? The way out here is we've put everything on the table. The deputy governor, Barrister Samode Emenai, is the man in charge, with the duties on boundary commission and all that. They've been there several times. In as much as this persists, another option we are thinking is trying to see if we can have a base at that portion between the two communities. It's a very vast portion. That was going to be one of the options. The other option is I'm going to claim it just for farming for the state, so that no one from the communities we dare come closer to the place. It is their farmland, but if they are fighting over it, it shouldn't be kind of a tussle of a thing. So Benue State needs food. So it's one good option that we are strongly considering. In fact, we even had a meeting last night, the Deputy Governor and myself and a few members of the Boundary Commission on these options. We've already spoken with some authorities to see if some military base can be shifted in there. We are working on all ends. So for the records again, they have relative peace between Oju and Constitutional local government. On very sound authority, I'm saying this. Did they have skirmishes? The answer is yes. So I'm very hopeful that we're going to tame that. We're going to put it under control. We have actually begun conversations with the two communities on these options we have. If the question were not asked, we don't want to publicize it until we get done with the little detail, with all the details. So that's where we are. I didn't say we are thinking on what to do when the floods come. We're not thinking. We are prepared. We are created awareness to all our people. Why you mentioned of that is the fact that I had said the river requires dredging. So before the dredging would come, there are a number of things we have put on the table, exploring to see which of the best option before the federal government comes in there to support us, to do the dredging, with us. So for the record, we're not just waiting. We have A SEMA, our emergency management team. They have the capacity, to take charge of all this, and they're already quite armed. We pray that the flood doesn't come in, but if it does, we definitely equal to the task. Remember, we have people who are insistently persistent to living on the waterways. So when you find such people, what do? You appeal to them, and if it doesn't work by appeal, when it happens to them, then... So this is my position. Everybody is being carried along, but then I can't blame the 1-2 big wigs. So democracy, it's about everybody. But remember, those who must matter most are those who elect us. We do not elect ourselves. The poor masses out there are the headquarters of democracy. They're the ones, when we are campaigning, we promise them good roads, we promise them good water, I will promise them heaven and earth. So when you come on this podium, on this seat, and then you do otherwise, I mean, there's something called conscience, and then there's God out there. So we must be on this desk, on this seat, with our consciences. When you say it, mean it. When I say it, I mean it. And this is why I take the masses very serious. If I've fought as a priest in the last 34 years, working for people to go to heaven, I mean working for people to have good education, working for people to have good drinking water, to have good roads, I mean, why should I settle for less? Because I'm a governor? No. And this is why I feel being a servant leader, makes the magic work. I've been out there, I know where it hurts the most. And this is why I trust and believe the trenches. So without their votes, you can never be a governor. So I'm just inviting those who are the big wigs to take it easy, one, on themselves, and then secondly, take it easy on the poor masses. The poor masses are us. The poor masses are us. And if we are representing them, I mean, we should just do something that speaks about for the common good. And again, this is why I never stop saying thank you to Mr. President, even when I saw him this morning. A number of people had asked, why was there no protest in Benue? I said, what kind of a protest? They say bad governance protests and hunger protests. I said, well, one, Benue is the food basket of the nation. Is there hunger hovering in the air? Perhaps, yeah, there's hunger in a number of quarters. But we do not have any genuine reason to talk about food insecurity in Benue State. We produce food. We were kind of slowed down by the insecurities that infested in a number of local governments, but we have picked up. And there's no stopping us at this point. And when people talk about bad governance, I earlier on mentioned here that when you come to Benue, you hardly distinguish a PDP man, an APC man, a Labour man, or you name it. All the people of Benue are looking for is good governance. Give us good roads. Ensure that we have our jobs. Ensure that you pick our young people off the streets. And this is why we introduced a number of things. As I'm speaking, over 10,000 youth are doing some ICT program that the state sponsored. We have sent some young people who have been to China and gotten back in 4 different batches just to see how the local communities work. Then they will come share this. And they are in different areas, working. The federal government just commissioned, the fashion hub in Benue just a few weeks ago. All this is to ensure that our young people are not idling at different corners. We're improving our health care. Our tertiary health system, it's one of the best within the entire Middle Belt. We are. So this is where we're headed, our schools. As I'm speaking here, next week we're hiring 9,700 trained, educated teachers. Why are we doing that? We're setting a future for our young people down the road. So when people say, well, instead of doing the project, give us to eat, I have a good message for them. Benue has food. We would ensure that there's more food. What I would not contend, and the masses do not even like themselves, is, getting into what comes to stay as a handout. They are agile young people and women, men and women. They want to get back to the farm. We just opened up a club for them, Young Farmers Club. And then at this season, the state government has specific funds just for the young people to come get free of charge for their farms, any brand of farm they want to do. We bought tractors, between March and June, and then we commissioned them. So are we giving all this out with the farm inputs, the fertilizers, the herbicides, the pesticides, free of charge and the improved seeds? Why am I doing that? Because I want the young people to understand, even those who have graduated in different areas, to know that we work where money is, on the land. And we must realize that our soil is our oil. That is where we're headed. So should someone say, oh, I'm hungry, who take care of your immediate hunger? I'm not even looking at the midterm. I'm looking at your long term, so that I teach you how to fish and you get down there yourself. And let me just take this opportunity as well to tell those who might be thinking very different from what I'm thinking. It's not only in Nigeria we have, certain anxieties. It's world over. World over. I just got back a day ago from the UK. And I was privileged to visit a few boroughs, local governments. So we were kind of talking and exchanging, our views and certain anxieties they had raised. And I said, well, people need to understand that the African continent is the most blessed continent. We are the most blessed continent. Maybe we take it for granted, but till you tour the world, till you read about the histories of other nations, then you say that, wait a second, we have it all. We have it all. We have very bright minds. I met a number of Nigerian medical personnel, and then they happened to be from Benue. And we're just chatting. I said, my brother, I hear your fame as a surgeon and all that. He said, yes. We came here just to have a good sight of you. Thank you for the work you are doing back home. I said, so are you willing now to come back and invest, even in farming, or you get your friends to come back and do this? He said, why not? The insecurities we're afraid of, everybody is sleeping. Most people are now sleeping with their two eyes closed, and opportunities are in there. Once you create a transparent governance, I think people understand what democracy means. This is what the federal government is also trying to do. The roads we are doing, the schools we are fixing, the clinics and the health system we are doing in Benue, it's because of the support we have from the federal government. It's not from my pocket. But any little thing that comes in will ensure that it trickles down to where it is supposed to be. And we must be very appreciative of the federal government's efforts and the state government's efforts. I only invite people to be a bit patient. It's easier to destroy. It takes every energy out of you to fix. Now I sit here and speak very freely. In the last 1 year, I hardly slept because I wanted to ensure that the people of Benue knew where democracy was headed by good governance, accountability, and transparency. And it's the same thing everywhere in all. With us, the governance. So this is where we're headed. If we change the way we're thinking, if we accept that what matters most is to ensure that we complement the efforts even the state government is doing above what the federal government is putting in, So why I thank the federal government for the supply of fertilizers they gave us. And then anytime we call that we have certain anxieties, situational crisis, uh, insecurities, they are right there with us. And this is why the Benue people, in very large proportion, have gone back to do their farming. But what I intend doing is it's not just going to do the farm and then coming back to the townships. We've already told them we're getting them back to their ancestral farmlands. And we're already on the path of doing this. But a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the very first step. The very first step is they are now able to go very freely to do their farmlands, undisturbed. And we intend to keep on this path. So if only we're a bit patient, things are going to fall in place. And then with the little effort we put in place, if we complement the efforts the federal government is doing, and then we as subnationals are also putting in place, the puzzle is going to be complete and everyone is going to be happy. Thank you.